question number 13. The question is, one of the following is not a figure of speech. The question is, one of the following is not a figure of speech. Option A, we have climax. Option B, oxymoron. Option C, antithesis. Option D, mime. Okay, let us use the elimination method in this question. Option A is a figure of speech. Climax is a figure of speech. Climax means arrangement of incidents in ascending order. That is arranging things from the least to the highest. We call it climax in literature. Option B, oxymoron. Oxymoron is equally a figure of speech. In oxymoron, we juxtapose two opposite words together. We put two opposite words together. Antithesis is also a figure of speech. In antithesis, a word in a statement may be used to contrast with the whole statement, or a clause contrasting with another, or sentence in statement contrasting with each other. Antithesis is the figure of speech whereby a word in a statement may be used to contrast with the whole statement, or a clause contrasting with another, or sentences in a statement contrasting with each other. Example of antithesis is: poverty is the fruit of all goodness. Money is the root of all evils. Mime is not a figure of speech. It is a form of drama in which you use your body to pass information. A dramatic activity without speech is what we call mime. The answer is option D, mime. It is not a figure of speech. The next question is question number 14. Dash is an indirect reference to an event, speech, or action in the past. Dash is an indirect reference to an event, speech, or action in the past. The options, we have option A, allusion. Option B, exaggeration. Option C, pun. Option D, innuendo. Let us explain the items in the option. Allusion is a reference or citing things that happened in the past. And we have two types of allusion. We have a biblical allusion and the classical allusion. Biblical allusion is a situation where you are citing those things, or you are referencing those things that happened in the Bible. While classical allusion is a situation where you are referencing or citing those things that happened in the past, olden days. Exaggeration or hyperbole or overstatement means exaggeration is a conscious overstatement without the intent of literal persuasion. Exaggeration may be used to produce a heightened effect or to produce some comic effect. Just to look at a situation where we said the man is taller than the cocoa house in Ibadan. Is it possible for one to be taller than cocoa house in Ibadan? No. We made that man's height to look larger than life. Such statement or such comment is what we call exaggeration, overstatement. You make it to look larger than life. I mean that you people attended a wedding ceremony and they give you a lot of food. You might say that they placed a mantle of fufu before ox in that wedding. So such is what we call overstatement, exaggeration, or hyperbole. Next option is pun. Pun simply means playing upon words. It may be used in a way repetitive of a particular word, while its meaning may not be really apparent. It may be used in a way repetitive of a particular word, while its meaning may not be really apparent. It's used for a colorful manipulation of words. The next option there is the innuendo. Innuendo is a clever way of passing unpleasant comments. Innuendo is a clever way of passing unpleasant comments. Innuendo is an insinuation or indirect suggestion, often with harmful or sinister connotation. Good example of an innuendo is: Emeka is a very honest man, especially with matters unconnected with money. Emeka is a very honest man, especially with matters unconnected with money. Here the speaker said, Emeka is a very honest man with a clause that if it is a matter concerning money, then he could not be trusted. Then, where is Emeka's honesty? Such statement or comment is a good example of innuendo. The right answer in the question number 4, allusion. Option A, allusion. When you are alluding, you are referencing, you are citing things that happened in the past. And if we are deriving it from the Bible, if you are getting them from the Bible, we call them biblical allusion. But when you are getting them from things that happened in the past, we call them classical allusion. The next question is question number 15. The question is: the boy showed his love to his father by killing the man. Is an example of dash. Boy showed his love to his father by killing the man is an example of dash. Options, we have metaphor. Option A. Option B, paradox. Option C, irony. Option D, allusion. Let us explain the meaning of those items in the option. Metaphor has been explained, and we said metaphor means a direct way of comparing two things. A direct way of comparing two things. The next option is option B, paradox. Paradox means a statement of fact or truth, which on the face of it may look contradictory, untrue, or even absurd. A good example of paradox is the egg is the father of the cock. Another good example of it is he who must die shall live, and he who must live shall die. It's only through close examination that one will be able to understand any comment or any statement that is paradoxical. Option C is irony. Irony is a deviation from reality. A deviation from reality. When you say the opposite of what you have in mind, we call it irony. The meaning of allusion has been explained. The meaning of allusion has been explained. The right answer is irony. Irony is the opposite of what you have in mind. The right answer is option C, irony. This question is question number 16. Question is, one of the following is an epistolary novel. One of the following is an epistolary novel. In the options, we have option A, Petals of Blood. Option B, Color Purple. Option C, Scarlet Letter. Option D, Letter to Matter. An epistolary novel is a novel in a letter form. Any novel written in a letter form is called an epistolary novel. You will write it, you will start it with address and end it as if it's a letter. Any novel in a letter form is called epistolary novel. The right answer is option A. Petals of Blood is a good example of epistolary novel. The next question is question number 17. Here is the hand that wreaked so much havoc. Here is the hand that wreaked so much havoc is an example of. The question is, here is the hand that wreaked so much havoc is an example of dash. Options we have paradox. Option A, option B, apostrophe. Option C, synecdoche. Option D, litotics. Let us explain the meaning of items in the option. Option A is paradox. Let us state the meaning of paradox. Paradox is a statement of fact or truth, which on the face of it may look contradictory, untrue, or even absurd. Paradox is usually used to attract attention and secure emphasis. Those statements you cannot understand at the surface level. Those statements you need to think deeper before you comprehend them are statements we call paradox. They are paradoxical in nature. Next option is apostrophe. Apostrophe is a situation in which someone talks to another who is not physically present, or even to an object which is incapable of listening. When you talk to someone that is not present, as if that person is present, or when you talk to an object that is incapable of listening, as if that object can hear what you are saying, we call it apostrophe in literature. Apostrophe is usually recognized through the use of exclamation mark like oh, you, and so on and so forth. Example of apostrophe is, oh, you death, why have you done this to me? If you look at it, I address death as if death is capable of listening. Another good example of it is, the gods are not to blame. Another good example of it, oh Lagos, you are the city of the idle who pretend to be busy. The next in the option is synecdoche. Synecdoche is a situation in which a part represents a whole, or a whole represents a part. When you use a part to represent the whole, or when you use a whole to represent a part, we call it synecdoche in literature. A good example of it is, by the last head count, Nigeria was said to be 88 million in population. When you say, my father has many mouths to feed, there use a mouth to represent human beings. The next in the option is a litotes. Another word for litotes is understatement. Litotes means an understatement in which a thing is affirmed by stating the negative or its opposite. In it, a positive statement is put in a negative way. A good example of it is, one might say, Nkechi, you are not bad. The intent here is to express Nkechi's beauty with an understatement. The right answer in question number 17, synecdoche. Remember there they use hand, and that hand stands for a who. So the right answer is option C, synecdoche. Remember we said synecdoche is where you use a part to represent a whole, or when you use a whole to represent a part.